I've run every major marathon in under 3 hours, and I've coached many athletes to their first sub-3 or multiple sub-3 marathons. But the thing I'm most proud of? Watching my wife Mary work her way down to being on the cusp of a sub-3 herself. She only took up running 8 years ago at about 39 years of age. In Tokyo, she ran 3 hours and 2 seconds, and the plan is to go sub-3 in Chicago later this year. So here's the thing, there are a lot of commonalities between my training, Mary's training, and in fact, any runner that wants to get faster over the marathon distance, regardless of sub-3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter. So if you want to run a sub-3, we're going to share exactly what we've done to get Mary on the cusp of that and what I've done to regularly run sub-3. But also, if you want to just get faster, this video still applies. And I've split the video into 3 handy chunks or segments. First of all, the non-negotiables. Secondly, the needle movers to this point for Mary, the things that really made the big difference. And thirdly, the next steps. How are we tweaking her training even further towards Chicago so she can get under the sub-3 threshold? We'll start with the non-negotiables. I'm not going to waste your time in this segment because we talk about it a lot of times in other videos in greater depth, but it is something we definitely are going to have to touch on, and it's about the non-negotiables of performance, as in the bare minimum if you want to improve as a runner, and not just sub-3 hours, and not just 2:39, which I'm aiming for, but sub-4 hours, sub-3:30, sub-5, a PB. These are the non-negotiables. And sitting at the top of the tree, in fact, the top of the tree for training always is consistency. As in, do not miss a session or try to minimize the misses because life's, and I get that. But we're going to talk about very quickly how you can be consistent. Also, strength and conditioning should be a non-negotiable. We've got back from the gym just now and we've tried to make it part of our lives because strength and conditioning, it's important to be a stronger runner, but actually it's important to be resilient to injury, and that, again, we'll go back, that's the thing that keeps you consistent. Next, training without ego, really important if you're going to make the most progress. That means not pushing if you're in zone 2 into zone 3, and it means listening to the body. When you're tired, stop. And right now, I'm literally 5 kilometers and my body is screaming no. I'm only 2.5 weeks after London, so I'm listening, and that is how you get through training without pushing yourself into injury, is just removing the ego as best you can. And the last 2 non-negotiables you can't do without these are recovery, and by that I mean the quality of your sleep, but also the quality of your diet to help it, and everything else that you do around your running to enable you to run again the next time. And finally, the long run. You need them in your life. They need to be a cornerstone of your training. That, for me, goes without saying. Those are the big 5. But interestingly, here's what's moved the needle for Mary over the last few years.
After Boston, we felt pretty burned out and like we needed to change up our marathon training, and there was a lot of evidence to show that lactate threshold sessions can really move the needle, so it was something we decided to implement and to mix things up in the next block. So week in, week out, we did lactate threshold sessions at the track, repeated reps like 800 meters, kilometer, 1200, 1600, working at lactate threshold. So now we were training and running at a higher effort pace, intensity than the marathon pace practice that we'd done previously, and working at that level started to make the marathon pace feel a lot easier and a lot smoother. And I think that was a huge change for me, and just learning to kind of suffer and tough out those lactate threshold sessions really helped my marathon mindset. You know, when things get tough and get difficult, when you persevere through hard sessions, inevitably, I really feel like that helped me to persevere through a marathon as well. Yes, the reverse build is essentially reversing the last block of training and doing the longest run 6 weeks out from the marathon rather than 3 weeks out, or it might be 5 weeks out instead of 2. So when you're going into that last block, you start with the biggest week and the heaviest week and the longest run. And I think that's been fantastic for me. We've implemented it with lots of the athletes we coach with similar success as well. And it just enables you mentally to get that biggest, longest run done and kind of maintain a sense of calm, I think, in those later stages of marathon training when things get really, really big and intense. And I think, you know, by the time it gets to marathon day, feeling fresh, feeling good, feeling ready is so important. So there's none of that kind of lingering fatigue from the biggest, longest run closer to the marathon date. It's, you know, it wouldn't be ideal if it was your first marathon, but now I am, 12 marathons in. And, you know, once you've done a few, I think it's a really good twist that you can add to your training. And for me, again, it's one that I really want to keep. I've played around with double run days for a few years, but it's really in the last year that they've become a really common feature, a weekly feature of my marathon training, especially in the later stages. And I really like them because it's enabled me to build my weekly, my monthly mileage without too many huge long runs in one go. So it's just kind of spreading out the mileage a little bit. Is perfect for adding extra easy mileage. So Tuesday and Thursday are the days when I do my sessions, my lactate threshold and my marathon pace practice or tempo. So adding an extra easy run on the morning of those session days helps me to build the overall mileage and get some nice easy miles in safely, so it's not too much strain on the body. Yeah, this is one I'm really proud of, and it is so hard when you're juggling marathon training with a really busy, intensive job that can bring a lot of stress as well. But it got to a point where, you know, previously I'd missed sessions, I'd been inconsistent, and I knew that consistency in my training is the thing that really is going to help me to make the progress that I wanted to make and that I knew was in there and possible. So basically it was like a decision that I am not willing to miss any sessions. I'm committed to making them happen, whether I'm tired, whether I'm stressed, whether I'm squeezing it in, and maybe it's not as long as I wanted it to be, but it's something I wanted to get out and get every run done in the best way possible. And it was just became a non-negotiable for me. There wasn't going to be any deliberations or reasoning in my mind. If a run was in the plan, a run was happening. And just committing to that way of thinking and not allowing myself to decide I'm not doing it was game-changing. And it was really, after I made that decision, I've been consistent ever since and barely missed a run, even though life has been busy and stressful with a lot in the way. I made sure the training was happening. Obviously, there have been times when it would have been not a good idea to run, so illness and injury, rest has to be the priority. So I'm not saying I blunt force my way through everything, but if I'm well and if I'm healthy, then I'm getting out running, even in amongst busy weeks and long days. Things might move around, but everything is going to happen. So they're the things that we really think have moved the needle with my training up to this point, but there are more things that we think can push it even further. And I want to be so ready for Chicago. So here's some of the things I'm going to be doing to make the next steps.
You put that on purpose?
Yeah.
All right, come on, you got to go.
Okay.
I'm on this.
Okay, let's talk Chicago block on what's going to move the needle further. First of all, I want to start the block really strong. Previously, I've had kind of disrupted starts to my first block, but I want this one to be great from the outset. So I'm looking to start the first block at around 65 kilometers a week, and over the 3 weeks build to 80. That would represent a really solid start that I don't think I've really had in previous blocks. And then at the other end, I want to have more weeks at 100 kilometers. In the last two, I've had 2 to 4 weeks up there, but I want to see if I can stack 5 or 6 big 100 kilometer weeks. And I think that will get me really, really ready.
And Mary, show us your guns. So what are you doing in that respect?
That was my weak one as well.
Oh,
That's my
sorry.
strong one.
Okay.
I'm doing loads of strength, like I've been doing that since January really. 2 to 3 gym sessions a week. Simple but consistent, and yeah, I'm going to continue that and actually have a bit of a focus on it over the next couple of months at the earlier stages of the block, just to make sure my body's ready for all the mileage I'm asking of it.
Yeah, we're trying to build strong bodies to take what's going to happen to them. Also, we're going to vary our training a little bit with an eye on Sydney, because Sydney is a hilly major and that's coming first in August. So I'm going to ask of Mary what I'm going to ask of myself, and we're going to do hill repeats once in a block. We're just going to switch it out for one of the lactate threshold sessions. And at the end of a lot of the easy runs, or at least 1 or 2 a week, Mary is going to do strides.
I am.
And that's an addition as well, just a little bit of faster running. And I would say those are the 5 major changes we're making to try and move the needle this time when it comes to Chicago training. Okay, I'm going to leave you now. I'm going to go home and you can carry on your run and enjoy it.
Okay, I want to take a picture first.
Oh, okay. Should we do that now? The truth is, you never really know if the changes that you make to the training are going to move the needle, if they're going to make a difference at all, but it's the tinkering that we actually love doing. That's the fun bit. And as far as I'm concerned, I think Mary running a sub 3 is only a matter of time. It might not happen in Chicago, but I think it's a when rather than it's an if. And I think she's got plenty of years. She's just getting faster, she's just getting stronger, and she can just absorb volume. So this is the point, I guess, where I show you what Mary's actual training structure week on week throughout the block is going to look like. That seems like the logical next step. Okay, finally, what does the training look like? Well, it's pretty simple, really. There will always be, in every week, 3 sessions. Tuesday, there will be intervals of some sort, whether lactate threshold or whether hill repeats. Thursday, there will be tempo or marathon paced type efforts, so lower than lactate threshold but still significant. Sunday, there will always be a long run, and then we just got to work out how to build easy volume around that. We split it down into 4 blocks. First block, we're going to go for 5 runs, so we will put an easy run on a Wednesday and also on a Saturday. But we'll focus on more hills because we're running Sydney Marathon, and more gym because we've got some time in our calendar. Block 2, a 3-week block with recovery, will go up to 6 runs, so we will add a Friday in there, but we won't be double run daying yet. We'll still be doing hills, we'll still be doing more gym. Block 3 is where we get punchy. We're going up to 6 days, but now 8 runs, so double run Tuesday, double run Thursday. We should be at or around 100 kilometers for this block. So we'll reduce the gym and we'll reduce the hills because we now want to get specific, because Chicago is a flat course. And finally, in the final block, the long run will be 6 weeks out, but we're aiming to be at 100 kilometers for that whole block. And again, that's 6 days, 8 runs, less hills, little bit less gym, still twice, but we're just maintaining consistency. Sounds simple, right? I guess all Mary has to do is do it now. And if you want to follow the journey, definitely get subscribed. And also, you'll enjoy this video, which is a recent one we put out about how we built to high mileage over a number of years. And then let's look at Mary's last Chicago effort, when at the time she ran a huge PB that we're looking to replicate this time through in Chicago 2026. Thanks for watching. Hope it helped. See you soon.